Hello and welcome. Good morning. It's still good morning after the break, or guten Morgen, guten Tag. So we have a very exciting session ahead of us. We'll be talking about next-gen technologies, especially AI, and how they can reshape the payments ecosystem. So let me invite on stage my distinguished guest speakers. So welcome on stage, Galit, Bono, Bartosz, and Francesco. A round of applause to our guest speakers, just to kick off. Hello, Galit, Francesco, Bono, and Bartek once again. Okay. So, as said, we have Galit Shani-Michel. During the break, I was trying to learn all the, last names and first names pronunciations, all the details about it. So we have Galit Shani-Michel from Forter. We have Francesco Burelli, consulting partner, Arkwright. Bono, and I learned Nijnatten. Almost there, so just correct me.
Nijnatten.
Nijnatten, oh my God. Okay, Nijnatten. So yeah, this is Bono Nijnatten, and of course, General Manager for ASOS Payments. And last but not least, Bartosz Skwarczek, and this is difficult, but I can pronounce it because I'm Polish, and Bartosz is also Polish, representing, so you're a founder and a president for G2A, and including G2A Pay. So, of course, the panelists and the guest speakers, they will tell you more about the organizations and how do they really deal with AI. And if you were attending the session in the morning, just led by Dave, they mentioned some of the AI solutions and how they can how they can change the payments ecosystem. And they said, oh, maybe next year we'll be kicking off really with AI. So I think we won't be waiting a year to talk about AI, how organizations are really deploying AI, because you have some of the discoveries to be revealed. And of course, you are already implementing AI in many different aspects in your organizations, because AI can be both, can be a technology enabler for example, improving customer experience, but also can be a solution to the problem. So starting from you, Galit, you are helping merchants optimize payments and streamline payments, and especially monitor and prevent fraud. So could you share your experience, how you really deploy AI-powered solutions?
Yeah. Thank you. So really nice to be here today. So Forter already started 10 years ago, and from the beginning, the aim was to provide 100% real-time decisions for fraud and abuse, to really understand the identity, using AI to really understand the real identity behind every interaction. So it's not just if it's one email or one address, but to really understand if this is a bad actor or this is someone you want to do business with. And this way to help merchants really focus on their day-to-day, which is e-commerce, while they don't have to worry about bad actors coming in and the high cost of chargebacks or the loss of revenue when they are declining good customers. So this is actually where we started, and as the technology evolved in the recent years, we can take it even further, and I think we can, for example, enable merchants to help with monitoring, because instead of just running a lot of reports, you can today, using AI, you can say, why my conversion yesterday was lower in France, and then you can see, okay, I had maybe a problem with my 3DS or with my auth rate, and you don't have to dig so much. When I manage payment, it sometimes used to take 2-3 hours to understand what went wrong. Now I think it becomes really easier, because if you ask the right question, you can actually get really quick answers from data.
Thank you, Galit. So it's about automating, but also about analytics, how you can really understand the problem behind it. Thank you very much for sharing. And then Bono. So I think it's a different perspective. It's you as a marketplace and retailer and merchant, and AI can be very much enabling you into customer experience, but also other aspects. So,
yeah. So at ASOS, where we have invested heavily into AI is around the fraud topic as well. And we went from rule-based to machine learning, and with the help of Forter as well. And that made us able to, and this is not the most popular thought from an employee's perspective, but we were able to cut 60% in our headcount. However, at the same time, for the people who are still working in the fraud department, they don't have to work around the clock anymore. From 24/7, we went to like regular business hours, and at the same time, AI will always go hand in hand with the decisions of humans for our business at this point of time, and therefore there's always a person who will have the final call in a decision around fraud.
Okay, thank you. I think it's very important to highlight what you just said, that AI, this is not like, just, of course, it's automating the routine task, but especially at the current stage of development, it really requires human intervention, human oversight, human supervision, but also what we really call cooperation. So it really goes hand in hand with human agents or human employees, with people, and we should really just have this perspective of cooperation. But you also mentioned, I would like to stop for a moment here, that of course implementing AI, or by implementing AI, you reduced your workforce by 60%, but it means the engagement. And of course, they could be more flexible. That's a kind of an upside, of course. But is there any reskilling program in your organization? Because many organizations did it. Once they introduce AI, they introduce also like a kind of a reskilling, upskilling program for the employees. So it means they could be like, AI trainers, so they can train AI, so they can be really shifted in the organizations and take more, let's say, creative or more responsible, complex tasks. Is there anything on your agenda as well?
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because we only just started doing that within the organization. We're running a test case at the moment with certain leaders of different divisions, and then we want to enroll that throughout the organization, because I also believe that it's very important that people accept AI and know how to utilize it, and not just be afraid of it to be part of that department that has a 60% headcount reduction.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing this perspective. And Bartek, now to you. So just please share your experience. Now we are just opening the discussion, and we share some of the overall or kind of an overview. Then we'll dig deeper into the solutions you implemented. But how it really helped you as an organization, and you are in a gaming industry, so it's very specific. And please tell us more about your organization and how you really use AI.
Good morning, everybody. G2A is a marketplace, so we are definitely on the merchant side. It's the largest marketplace for entertainment, especially gaming. Gaming, not gambling, that's a difference, of course. And including gift cards and any digital products you can imagine. So with 30 million clients, 200 countries, over 200 million visitors annually. Yes, for us, AI is double-edged sword, so to say. So on the positive, the bright side, of course, we have a lot of examples, especially on the marketing side. Our campaign, which we did at the end of last year and this year, it's called Gate Ready in the United States. 40 million people were involved in this campaign, and we use the AI tools to make it more excited for the clients. So Midjourney is an example of an AI tool we use. We of course use AI for the creative work. We use AI for the copywriting. When we look at the IT departments, then we of course see increase in the efficiency with the developers using GitHub or other repositories and AI tools. They increase even 30%, we can observe on individual work, not at this moment at the whole organization. And of course, when it comes to cybersecurity, that is a big thing for us always. And then we use a lot of tools. And there is the other side of AI, because AI can be super effective and helpful, but also can be extremely stupid, so to say. It's all about large language models and the data that you feed them. So I can give you my personal example when I was tracking the chat which we all know, and for over 6 months I was the founder and the president and CEO of a very different company. I was asking about myself, and the answer was the company I was never related to. And just recently, in the last version, oof, I said, finally, I am the right person with the right company. And that is a mistake that not human would do. You look at Google, anywhere you want, and you see the very clear data. But with AI, we have the very ruthless mechanism. And that's why I'm saying that it's like a knife. You can do bread and butter in a beautiful way, but also you can stop if you use it improperly. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's very important.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your perspective, and I think this really refers to almost every tool or almost every technology we have. It can be good, used for both good and bad, and of course very much depends how you use it. You say AI can be stupid. I can't agree with the expression stupid, because it can be stupid, like, just to the extent how stupid is either the trainer and then the knowledge base, and how much bias it, because by stupid we can either mean it's biased, and of course it's limited. We know that Gen AI can hallucinate, and it's not very good with numbers. Now it's better with text and descriptive tasks, but we don't have probably the time during this panel to go very much deeper into Gen AI. But I want to ask a follow-on question. Once you were talking, something came to my mind, because you mentioned some of the AI tools. You just mentioned Midjourney. So, and how about Sora? Because now it's not public yet, I mean, for the commercial use. But we know, and there are very high expectations, because you can turn text into video, like I think up to 60 seconds. And this is really just on the fly, real time and very quickly. So who can produce the video based on the description that quickly? And it can enhance a lot, especially in terms of customer experience. So are you looking into this as well? Do you have any expectations on that?
Yes, of course. We implemented the approach where our department, very practical, where our department was tasked to prepare once a quarter to use at least one, the more the better, in a reasonable way, at least one AI tool. And then we have the quarterly meetings to sum up what are the benefits, advantages, disadvantages, how to share the knowledge across the organization, and actions for different companies. And they help us with the customer journey, because all of us here, we are here for the client, but at the end of the story is to make money. Of course, by making client happy, and this is our job, but at the end, maybe there is someone, sorry, from non-profit organization, raise the hand. No, okay, so we are here to do money by making client happy. And then we are using every opportunity to make the customer journey more seamless, more easy for the client, remembering that the data shows that if the client has any obstacle on the website, on the customer journey path, not only checkout, not only payments, but at all, in 60%, he just leave the site and go somewhere.
Absolutely. And thank you for highlighting the perspective again of customer journey, because it's a very good example how AI can also optimize it and how can streamline it. But also going beyond, you see, we are sitting at the MP, Merchants Payments Ecosystem, and of course we are very much into payments, almost all of us, but of course very much into retail, e-commerce as merchants. And in this panel, we are just going beyond payments, and we will still keep this perspective, and I think it's really very mind-opening, eye-opening, and also very inspirational to see beyond payments. We'll come back to that, and we'll also come back to the context of employees, how they can really implement AI. Now I save Francesco, last but not least, I save you. So just to have another perspective, because we are so much focused on AI, and then you have an exciting findings from your report recently published, and I would like to turn this question to you, of course. What is really high on merchants' agenda? is it really, so AI, is it really aligned with merchants' objectives based on the report you just published? I'm really curious to find out more.
Thank you. The report is going to be made available this afternoon by MP, and it's taking a view of payments seen from a merchant perspective. So what type of challenges merchants have with payments? And unsurprisingly, AI didn't appear as one of the asks from the merchant side. So the problem is fraud. The problem is seamless checkout in online. The problem is omni-channel integration for refunds and so on for in-store, but none of them expressively came out with an AI opportunity for the payment industry. So in a way or another, as payment providers, we are somehow positioned in a very tactical manner, competing to provide the service in a better way, less expensive, more effective, and this and that. But if we take a move and we look beyond defense, the retail industry is changing dramatically. We got a perspective both as consultants working around treasury, working in platform and ecosystems and so on. And I have to say I have also a privileged perspective because I'm exposed to a variety of sectors out of being an assistant learning coach at INSEAD Executive Education. So working with CEOs and executives of any type of industry. With that, you see that the amount of transformation in business models, in the way companies operate, is absolutely pervasive. This morning, I was on a call with a group of board members, and there was one point being raised that they came out in the conversation. So the CEO and founder of Rakuten has tasked all of his units, including support units, with the development of a strategy with the target of 30% either value creation or value capture for this year. This means a significant rebuild and rethink of the business. If we look at DBS in Singapore, that's no longer a bank. That's a digital company that is somehow doing the banking work, but they run 3 marketplaces. They got a variety of stacks of platform and API platforms and so on. Take Square. Square is no longer a payment company. It's a technology company, mini ERP type of solution that assemble a variety of third-party services into a customer journey, to the point that customers are insensitive to the cost of payment, that they buy it because of the ERP element, so it's so valuable for their operation. So as an industry, the question is, are we just tinkering around the edge with AI in, I don't know, in fraud, AI a little bit in payment optimization, or is there a bigger elephant in the room that we're either not seeing or we're not being invited close to, that in reality would be the major strategic opportunity for the industry?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing this perspective and sharing the story of Rakuten with us so openly. Yeah, and you mentioned that, you know, AI is not on the top of the merchants list, or maybe not that explicitly, but if you look at different aspects and objectives like optimizing the value chain, optimizing the customer experience, streamlining the payment flows, AI is there or should be there and will be there in a moment. I mean, just not only about automating, but also making analytics, streamlining the processes, machine learning, how it can be deployed. So maybe this is not like we explicitly name the technology standing behind that, but of course it can be, once again, as we started, a solution to the problem or an enabler, and all the criteria you mentioned can be really solved by AI. So now we will go a little bit deeper, so delve into more specific use cases, because we mentioned some of them. We mentioned fraud monitoring, customer experience, digital onboarding, how it can be enabled, or improved by AI. And then just starting with you, Bono, representing a marketplace, a retailer, and even going beyond payments, slightly beyond payments. I know that you have something in your organization and a use case that you can share with us, deploying AI or even Gen AI, generative AI.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely outside of my scope of business. But within ASOS, we've recently launched the AI stylist, and that basically allows you to say, "Hey, I'm going to Italy on holiday, and I don't want to look like a tourist." And then the AI stylist will, well, show you an outfit that you can buy and a beach towel, and it collects everything that you need in your basket that will be relevant for your holiday to Italy, and so on. I'm going to a festival. I'm going to my first job interview, and that's well, outside of the payment scope.
Yeah, and that's a personalized experience. And this is, again, payments are also about personalization. I like the AI stylist, by the way. So maybe that will be like my new stylist, I don't know. But this is exactly an example of how we can go beyond payments and even beyond merchant perspective, as we know, but of course enhance the user experience. So just staying in the mood of enhancing customer experience, if you can, Bartek, share with us some of the examples how you can streamline the payments flow and how you can really increase it, improve the customer experience at the checkout.
In reference what was said a second before, I think the landscape today is more competitive than it was ever before. And we see the payment companies trying to be closer to the client. We see the merchants, marketplaces, e-commerce businesses being more like an integrators of different kind of technologies, also to be closer to the client, storing a lot of data. And in G2A, we always believe that at the end of this process, there is a human being. I mean, we use AI, we use different technologies, but there is a person who is involved in that. And I give you an example of how we use AI-backed technology provided by Just. It's dedicated for the disputes, how to handle disputes and chargebacks. And thanks to the technology that we use, we increased the ratio by 30%. But what it gave to us was the time that our people could get back from the process of dealing with chargebacks, with the disputes and everything related to that, and be more involved in the other things, because the AI solution that we implemented in JAS and the provider support gave us the time to be more focused on other parts of the job, which are extremely important. So we always look at both sides of the coin. On one side, of course, what is the most proper and seamless for the client. On the other side, we look always at the human factor, how we can enhance and how we can improve the human, which is somewhere in between all those technologies, and making them available for the client.
Yeah, and just, again, keeping this people human perspective, your employees' perspective in mind, how you really engage your employees to start experimenting with AI, because there are many organizations already, like OP Financials, for example, in Finland, and they even have the generative AI guild, and just consisting of employees representatives across the organization. There are more than 1,000 people in this guild, and they have regular meetings, updates, and so on. So how you deal with this, how you introduce this AI strategy, but within your organization?
AI is everywhere. So we open the fridge and AI is coming. And of course, everybody loves the change until they have to implement it. And we see exactly the same in every company. Whenever you come and implement something, some new technologies, then we have several boxes to tick to make it happen. And I think at the beginning is the understanding of the resilience, because sometimes when you implement the new technology, there is a resilience in people which are basically sometimes afraid to implement because they are afraid of losing something. A very important factor when you are implementing is focus on the real problem that you can solve. because you can run and try to grab so many AI solutions. When we get different kind of presentations, you see like 100 or 200 or 500 different ideas and companies that are providing you the AI support. But first, you need to define the problem, where you want to find a better solution, and then try to find the solution and implement the proper tool to make it happen. Less is more, in our opinion. I mean, small steps, but very consequent, very organized, are better just rather than big projects that may happen or may not happen. A very good example is what we did with all the departments there. And lastly, I would say intuition doesn't help, because intuitively our employees are afraid and they think, oh, maybe this, especially let's take IT department and code developers. When you hear the NVIDIA CEO from the last 2 weeks, you can hear that the coding will be only done by AI. And at this stage, within the next time frame we observe, we don't believe in that. But we believe that IT developers enhanced by AI will be much more effective than just developers.
Absolutely.
So these could be 4 or 5 strategies to implement AI.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. And absolutely, cooperation, you mentioned this, cooperation hand in hand. So even if we talk about low-code or no-code solution, also a lot of points that you mentioned resonate with me. You said intuition doesn't help, but intuitive AI, not generative AI, intuitive AI was launched by Apple. And this is just to help to navigate like our just conversational interface. So this is something different, but this is called intuitive. And then baby steps. You said baby steps, and I think it's very important, just small steps, baby steps, especially in a nascent sense of AI that we have. I mean, it's not that nascent, but for Gen AI, and of course, it's a learning curve for both AI and for us human people, for humans, just to prompt AI and to learn and cooperate with AI. A lot to say. I think it will be like, you know, something like a deep dive session on AI, so somebody will cover it probably. You want to add, and then Francesca, I will
there is
hand
one
over
more
to
thing
you.
which is
Yeah.
very much worth to consider and look at it. Ethical approach. And I'm not saying about regulatory. Regulatory is for regulators, and of course we have to adapt, and sometimes we contribute to that. But ethical, it comes again to human factor. So sometimes people have different thinking. And we, as an avant-garde, so to say, of the technology businesses, we like to move fast. But this ethical approach is very important, maybe not strategy, but very important area that you have to dive in, also with your employees, to understand how they look at it, and whether there is any moral problem or bias or maybe way of thinking that you should address. So I would add this one
Absolutely,
thing.
ethical and responsible. And now I will just get back to you, Galit, with some questions. But then I will come back to Francesca, because you raised a point. And are you going to play a devil's advocate, and you want highlight some risks or threats related to AI?
Well, AI is a Pandora box of opportunities and threats. So first of all, right now is a fashion. Out of direct involvement with a central bank that is consolidating data from a lot of different central banks and so on. Recently, there was one instance where the mental model starting from was everything AI. In reality, you got a lot of other tools that are way, way cheaper, already available and tested to do specific type of data cleansing and so on. So be mindful of the fashion element. Second, yes, we have an incredible amount of productivity that is being unleashed. And if we look at the rally of the US stocks in the latest period, this is all driven by productivity gains. On the other side, we are starting seeing pervasive redundancies in the 10-15% across almost any type of organization. That has a significant impact. So there are two sides of it that we need to be very, very mindful of. Finally, is the overall data governance. I mean, if we are UOB, and UOB has a major program where they are operating with autopilot, with Microsoft, where they have a local deployment. They're pretty big balance sheet. They have the ability to buy and deploy. So compliance in terms of privacy, the security of strategic data, and so on and on and on, is given. But if you're not as big as, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I can always count on you, Francesco, that you will pinpoint some of the, like, just maybe not negative aspects, but like risk areas, something that we should really be careful about. And coming back to you, Galit, I know that you will be delivering the keynote after our session, so you will definitely dig deeper into the fraud monitoring, streamlining of payments, use of AI. But just as for now, and Bartek said that we should define the problem first, of course. So just defining problem with your merchants, and this is a very burning problem, and of course very detailed problem of fraud monitoring and prevention. So if you can share with us some of examples from your clients, or maybe some KPIs as well, how you really go through this process.
Yeah, so I really agree with defining the problem. Everybody today wants to use AI and asking the employees to use AI, but at the end of the day, you're here to do your job, whether you're managing payment or you're managing fraud, and you have a lot of challenges. When you manage fraud, for example, you need to understand who is legit and who is not legit, and make sure you're not over-declining. And solving this problem with machine learning and AI can help you a lot. So like Bono mentioned before, moving from rules. And what we are seeing when merchants are using rules, and there are merchants still using rules right now, when they are using rules, moving to automation and machine learning, first of all, 90% less declines, which is crazy. But when you think about it, how does the rule work? You just create rule every time you find some fraud pattern, you create a rule, but then there are some legit people maybe that meet the same pattern, and you block them. So a lot of people come to Forter, and they come to solve a fraud problem, and they say we have a lot of chargebacks. Yes, okay, the chargebacks must go down because that's the first job to be done, but the other job to be done is to make sure that legitimate customers can pay. And when we see 90% of the declines go away, or we see much less friction with 3DS when you apply 3DS only on the right transactions, this is where you increase your revenue while you're also reducing cost of, let's say, chargebacks, as an example. So we are using it today both for payment optimization and for fraud to really solve that problem of how to answer these questions, because you have so many questions you need to answer. Which PSP is best for this transaction? Do I retry after the decline or not? Do I do 3DS? Do I use network token? Like, the amount of questions you need to ask just increasing like every year, and being in this industry for so many years is just becoming more and more complicated. Maybe 15 years ago it was only which PSP to use, and that's it. So, okay, you do a lot of A/B tests, you get to something which is like good enough. But right now, as the world evolves and the amount of what payment methods to show, how does this person wants to pay? Some are more expensive than others. Like, when you try to answer these specific questions using AI and using automation, you can just be more accurate with the answers, with the decision that you're making.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Galit. And of course, it's very complex, and it's a lot of dependencies, as just the payment words is. So I think it very much resonates with the payment word as well. We are just coming to the end of our discussion that quick. My God, it was quite like, just a great discussion with different perspectives from different angles shared. I hope you enjoy it. And now I would ask each of you just to share your takeaways, and we don't have that much time. And Dave said before that I'm very strict on time. So of course you have less than a minute each, just to leave the audience with your takeaways or with your just headlines. So starting from Bartek, because you wanted to say something.
The takeaway for me would be in all this technology discussion, never forget about human being, about people, because behind the technology there is always a person. That would be the one. The second, let's don't forget that there are bad actors, and this is a kind of race. So all the KYC processes and other security, cybersecurity things, we see that it's on the huge rise, the way bad actors use also tools and artificial intelligence, and we should be super focused on prevent from their acting. And lastly, practical approach. Not theoretically, let's do something AI because it's fancy, but what problem you would like to solve and how, with baby steps, approach to this to have something delivered on time. That would be my takeaway.
Okay, thank you. Bono?
Well, in line with what you said as well, it's like if you contemplate bringing AI into your business, bring your people, your employees with you on this journey, what we touched upon earlier. And at the same time, we're still so much in the early days of AI, but if you apply it right, I think it will have a huge impact of the profitability of every single company.
And productivity, yeah. And Francesco?
So first of all, completely resonate with the fact that behind the computer there's a human, a customer is a human, or at least for the time being. In terms of AI, it is important to take a strategic perspective, not just a tactical. Is not applying it to one function and so on. Is what can it do for me? I can eliminate duplicated tasks. Where are these tasks throughout my organization? And it is about very much experimenting rather than planning. This is really strategy short-term in continuous adaptation. And then finally, there's the duality of AI. It opens up a Pandora box, as I was mentioning, of challenges. Like for board directors, they need to start thinking how they're going to live with an AI non-executive director. The digital education has taken a completely different role. Now, it was before a key success criteria of any type of professional or culture or society and so on. Now with the large language model, we've taken away, we made the interface easier, but the awareness and the ability to use this tool has become way, way more complex.
For sure, we can't exhaust all the topics related to AI during this panel. So Galit, do you want to add anything else, or you want to jump into your keynote?
No, I can jump into my keynote. I will just say that AI is not like the solution that you just let the AI do it for you. There are humans there that needs to operate it, that needs to use it when they develop a solution. And actually for some of these solutions, it's more cost-effective for businesses to outsource it because there are companies that are leveraging AI and develop maybe a solution that can be good for you. So AI is not just about I'll teach all my employees how to use it and then they find the answers. It's more difficult than that. But definitely everybody needs to understand how that can benefit their business.
Yeah, thank you. And my takeaway and the wrap-up will be a holistic AI strategy. I very much echoed with you, Francesco. It's absolutely a strategic, not tactical approach to AI. And by saying then that I thank you all for being my guest panelists, guest speakers. I think it was a great panel. So just a well-deserved round of applause to Galit, Francesco, Bono, and Bartek.